Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Scenic Route Astrology. My name is Makayla, and I'm your host. And today I'm talking to you about the full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius that's happening on May 26th, 2021 at 7:13 p.m. in Providence. Okay, this is a lot of energy coming in our way, and this is a very important full moon lunar eclipse. It will be followed by the solar eclipse on June 10th. So there's two parts, sometimes there's three parts to eclipses, but this is continuing a story that has been unfolding for each of us in our lives on an individual basis and the collective. I'm also going to put this on my podcast. So if you're listening on podcast, no worries, I'm not using a chart today, so you don't really have to follow along with that. So let's just dive in. So this eclipse is really potent energy, okay? There's a lot of cathartic release around this. With a lunar eclipse, something is going to be taken away from you. And it's the universe is gently or not so gently, in this case with the lunar eclipse, taking something away so that it can continue to push you on your path in life, okay? Usually around lunar eclipse, this is a life-changing type of energy. Something gets taken away and there's no turning back. And I don't want to scare you. I want you to leave with this video with good energy, but just know that it might be an emotionally hard time, but this is an important time for you, for all of us, and it's going to help you in the long run, okay? And this transition will usually last about 6 months after the eclipse happens, okay? So you'll be going through these changes. Something will be released, it'll be gone. You will go through these changes for 6 months and you will be changed for the better, okay? This is opening the door so that it can set you on the right path. And during this timeline, since this is happening on May 26th, you're going to want to pay attention to the week before. So while I'm recording this now, the week before the lunar eclipse and also the week after. Okay, look for what is going out of your life around this time, and that's going to help you unfold the story. This energy is also really, really strong for all the mutable people, okay? So that means if you're a Sagittarius, a Pisces, a Virgo, or a Gemini, and you have that rising or the sun or the moon, or you have any planets in those signs, you're going to feel this energy even more, or it's going to impact you even more. This could also be significant for you if this is on one of your angles, the MC, the IC, the ascendant, or the descendant. If you're following along with your chart, and if you don't have your chart, you can get your chart on my website. It's www.astroroots.com. It's free. Then I run it in Placidus. It's the system I use. You're going to want to look for any planets in those mutable signs around 5 degrees or 10 degrees. And then I like to use a 5-degree orb around that. And again, those planets are going to be pulled in, or those angles will be pulled in, and you will be experiencing a square or an opposition around this energy. Okay, so this is tense energy, it's coming through, but it's good. Just stay mutable, stay flexible with the changes that are coming up, and you'll be good. You'll be good to go, okay? So let's talk about the dynamics around this lunar eclipse. We have a couple aspects that are really important to consider. I think they're really important to consider, and the energy is important to reflect on so that you can shift with these changes with the least amount of resistance as possible, okay? You want to be a downstream human, all right? You don't want to be going upstream and exhausting yourself. You want to go with the flow of the tide, okay? So to kick this off, the lunar eclipse means that the moon is important. Okay, it's lunar. The moon is in Sagittarius and it's going to be squaring Jupiter and Pisces. So with then the moon and Sag, we're going to have to be letting go of something that we're holding on to. That could be an emotional belief, because Sagittarius is often about the truth that we're seeking, or the beliefs that we are holding on to, the things that we believe are right for us or to be true. We're going to have to bring in the square and the tension with Jupiter and Pisces, which is bringing in some guidance to let go. Okay, Jupiter's transit right now in Pisces is very short for this year, but it's giving you a preview into next year. So look for teachers or gurus, or healers, anybody that's coming into your life right now that might be helping you through these changes. Okay, they're bringing you universal signs or messages. And sometimes these messages can come in as like a letter in the mail from somebody, or a song on the radio, or dreams. Dreams are really important. Pay attention to those and sit on them and think on them for a while. Jupiter is also going to expand anything it touches. Okay, so since it's touching this lunar eclipse, the emotions are going to be even bigger than we expected. Okay, they're going to be even more intensified and larger, so that that you can sit with that and just be comfortable, and let the emotional tide go through you. Let it cast over you and surrender to the change. Okay, Pisces is very much about surrender. It's about not having boundaries, although we have to be careful when people cross our boundaries. But I think at this time, instead of boxing yourself in to hating the changes that are happening for you, or being like really upset about them, or trying to hang on, instead of that, just let it go, like let it flow off of you, and allow Jupiter to bring in the gifts that it needs to. Oftentimes, if this is like an uncomfortable process, this is where the big, deep work is happening for you, and the changes that really need to be presented to you. Usually if we're uncomfortable during this times, we're not in the right place that we need to be, and we don't even know it. We don't even realize it. So yes, it's uncomfortable, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel with this. And to help navigate this logically, because a lot of us will be stuck in the mind and not in the heart, and we need to integrate both energies during this time. Since we have a lot of Pisces energy, we have some really big Jupiter, Neptune, Pisces energy during this time, but we also have Venus, Mercury, and the Sun in Gemini. So we have a lot of intellectual mind energy going on. Okay, so I'll talk about Mercury in Gemini is going to be squaring Neptune in Pisces. So again, we have a square that needs to be integrated. A square it's two energies that are very tense together, but they have to work together. It's a dynamic where you can actually meet at the 2 points in the middle and fuse them and make them work for you. Okay, it doesn't have to be an uncomfortable tension, and oftentimes it'll feel like that. But if you're aware of what's going on and you're aware of it ahead of time, you can probably navigate yourself a lot easier during this time. So while Mercury is in Gemini, it's comfortable. It's a busy mind. You might have a lot going on. You might have a lot on your plate right now. There might be a lot of information to process, or maybe you're overthinking things, or maybe you've got like 10 projects you want to do, or there's like so many changes, intellectual, logical changes, or you're perceiving things so much overload. That you're getting overstimulated in the mind area. And because there's a square to Neptune, Neptune in Pisces especially is going to bring confusion and disillusionment over this. Okay, so your anxiety might even be higher because you can't think and perceive things as clearly as you want to be. You might want to be communicating, but you feel like you can't find the right words or the right things to say, or you're just really confused about what you're thinking or perceiving. Things might not seem clear because of this Mercury-Neptune square. And also Mercury has the ability to be a trickster sometimes, especially when it's in the sign of it that it rules. If Mercury is in Gemini or Virgo. So if you're too much in your head, I think that's when you'll get confusion and that the mind will trick you and play tricks on you. And so I really think with this dynamic right here, the best process would to be to surrender again with that Pisces energy to the heart and let the mind and the heart connect together. Okay, so if you find yourself overloaded, overthinking, overly logical, that you're even playing tricks on yourself, or you're getting information that is so logical and it seems logical to you, but it's also very confusing and you don't know how you feel about it. Listen to the heart, because integrating the Mercury square Neptune is really about surrendering to the heart, letting the mind and the logical parts of us surrender to the heart, okay? And letting it, I'm going to use a term from Richard Tarnas's book that's amazing. Allow the bedazzlement of your consciousness really come from your heart and then flow up and speak into your mind. Okay, and that's how you'll be able to actually get clarity, because you won't be confused on all this information and ways to go. Gemini can just give you like so many little bits and pieces of information, but nothing is really stagnant and clear because it's just collecting and networking and piling together. Okay, whereas like Virgo would pick it apart and make it, what's useful, what's not. But we don't have that Virgo energy right now. We have the Gemini energy. Okay, so in order to actually have a firmer foundation around this time and to really navigate with our conscious mind and our unconscious selves and our hearts and our body, you're going to want to tap into that heart center. Okay, you're going to want to work with creative energy, do meditation, spend some time writing, spend some time alone, centered, in the calm, in the quiet. Slow it down a little bit. Okay, you don't have to be moving so fast with this energy this week. It's an emotional energy. You want to sit with it. You want to feel it out and let the heart and the soul speak to you and speak to your mind. Another aspect we have is Mars in Cancer, trine Neptune in Pisces, and square Chiron in Aries. So Mars in Cancer, Mars is our planet of assertion, and it's how we're going to be taking action. And Mars has been in Cancer for a little bit now. And Mars in Cancer is not very aggressive. It's more, it wants, like the crab walks, it wants to step side to side. And it's going to be a little non-confrontational, okay? And because it's trine Neptune in Pisces, it's getting that support from that heart center again, or universal consciousness, or the things that we can't describe but we can feel, and they bring us to a higher source or a higher meaning. And this whole energy right now is really about healing, and really about healing ourselves individually, so that as a collective we can also heal. And this is huge energy right now. you can see that spirituality is on the rise. You can see that more people are tapping in and tuning in and interested, and they're curious, and even astrology is getting really popular. And it's good. It's really, really, really good. So how to work with this Mars in Cancer is to slow down, and remember that the Cancer archetype lives in the tides of the ocean. Okay, so that the changes that you need to make, you're gonna be able to make them. Okay, that the crab lives in the tides, and the tides are strong. They're coming in, they're coming out, they're pushing the crab around in his shell or her shell, and and it's aggressive. And this lunar eclipse is aggressive, but it's able to change. And in Cancer isn't mutable, but it's cardinal, so you can start again. Okay, with the cardinal, like, you can take off, you can start running. All right, so this Mars in Cancer energy is actually, I think, going to be working for us. It's going to be able to not be so purely logic, but really be responsive to the feelings and the intuition that's going on, and give you the flexibility that you need to change. We're also having we have 3 planets in retrograde during this lunar eclipse, and the retrograde planets are just planting seeds right now. Okay, they're reviewing and they're going over things. We have Pluto. Pluto is a huge retrograde planet right now. It's very intense for everybody in certain areas of our life, but it's asking you to make deep, deep, deep change within yourself that is going to probably not be over until like 6 months from now when it goes direct, but you have to work through it, and it's bringing up the shadow side of yourself as on an individual level and on the collective. All right, there's a lot of shadow work that's coming up, and this is really important actually to think about the shadow work during this time as well, because when we have the eclipse, the lights are out for a second, and we don't have the light of the moon guiding us or the light of the sun guiding us, right? So what do we do when the lights are out? We have to be our own guide. And if you have too much shadow in you that you haven't brought to the surface and you haven't dealt with, that shadow side of you is steering the wheel of your life. Subconsciously, you won't even know it. You think that it's okay and it's fine, but it will bring you to certain situations in your life that are very uncomfortable because you didn't even know that it was happening at the time, and you didn't even know that these things were coming up. So Pluto retrograde is about bringing up the shadow material right now for us on an individual level. You can see where Pluto is in your chart, and then the polarity point, and you can see what kind of dynamic is going on, and where that deep shadow work is coming up for you. And it's really important to let that come up and to let it come to the light and to the surface so that it can heal, so that it won't be steering the wheel to your car, so that you're the one. The more subconscious stuff we bring up into the light, the less we have weighing us down. And this whole time that we're going through all these planetary alignments, like, they're all connected together, and it's wild. It's wild to see how we're just going through this deep, deep healing transition of a time, on a collective level, but also individually. And I see it with people I talk to, with clients, with myself, with my family, friends. It's happening for us in all these different areas, but it's a huge transition. You also want to watch out for the Saturn retrograde square Uranus that's coming up in June. It won't be direct, but the tension will be there. So again, there's a part of that earthquake energy where something that's outdated, that that isn't resonating with you anymore, systems, beliefs, again, that Uranus is trying to break you through if you're uncomfortable, for a revolution and for a change. Okay. So the change is okay. It's good. It's uncomfortable, but it's okay. So if you're wondering how you can consciously work through this, you can think about the nodes here, because the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse involve the nodes of the moon. Okay, and we can refer to them as the dragon. So K2 and Rahu. K2 is the south node, and it's going to be in Sagittarius next to the lunar eclipse. Okay, so recognize, and the way to the north node is through the south. Okay, so recognize where in Sagittarius, belief systems, recognize where you might be dogmatic still, or ask yourself, is this authentic to me? Does this seem truthful to me? Does everything that I believe and perceive, again, we're talking about that Mercury square Neptune, all of these transits are connected together in this horoscope, all the energies interplaying together, it's all connected. Is your vibration in a good spot right now? And are you being truthful to yourself and your authenticity? Okay, and that will shoot you through to the north node in Gemini Rahu, where then you can consider, is this rational based on love? Okay, don't think purely logical. You want to really remember to incorporate the heart here. Is this rational based on love? And then this will keep you growing. This energy will keep you growing. Remember that we have Pluto retrograde. Mercury is going to be going retrograde on the 30th. So this week, any kind of things that you are thinking, perceiving, considering, working with, you are going to be rethinking, revising, reconsidering, and going back over during the Mercury retrograde. Okay, Mercury retrograde kind of gives you like a second chance to reconsider or rework things or redo things if they need to be redone. Make sure you have your things backed up. My best friend earlier was telling me that both printers were going out, and I was like, well, it's Mercury retrograde, so just back up your stuff. Make sure you save things, make sure you double check things twice, the typical Mercury retrograde stuff, which is going to be like extra strong because it's in Gemini. And then we have Saturn retrograde as well for a while. So there's a lot of change. There's a lot of transitions for us going on, but it's going to be okay. And the purpose here, the bigger purpose and the bigger picture is for deep healing, and for deep work on all of us on this level. And the change really does start with each individual. Okay. And without the projecting on others. Okay. If you find yourself projecting out or being judgmental, take it as a moment to step back and actually think about why that is you're in that space. Okay. And if something is uncomfortable, ask yourself, why is it uncomfortable? And really, really look back at yourself and reflect at yourself, or literally look in the mirror and stay curious. Okay. Why is this happening? Because your soul has put you in these positions or these points so that you can recognize the traumas that you have to let go. You can recognize of the outdated belief systems that don't serve you anymore and that don't serve humanity anymore on the bigger level. Each of us does work in some way or another in the world that is connected to so many people in our community and really is a trickle effect out into the whole entire world, which is what needs really deep healing right now. If you would like, I am open for astrological readings. You can go to my website to book. Everything is done right on my website, www.astroroots.com. I'd be happy to go over the current energies playing out for you, especially if you're going through a hard time with this, the lunar eclipse. I mean, there's a lot of change going on. So stay flexible, stay open, stay loving, be true to your heart. Don't overthink everything this week, and surrender to the changes of the cosmic tides. All right, I will see you again soon. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Take care.